If you will, for Coach, since he's unfamiliar with your media, will you please identify yourself so Coach will kind of get an idea who everybody is before you ask your question?
You know, incidentally, since we were talking about my children's names, I am glad to finally be in a state where Peyton will be well received. So,
Okay. All right.
all right.
Just identify yourself for Coach, please, so he'll know.
Rick Russo, Volunteer TV. Congratulations.
Thank you.
At some point, we'll have to talk about the Dolphins. I'm a big Miami fan.
All right.
All right. The last guy here certainly left a bad taste in the mouths of folks, a lot of folks around here. What assurances can you give the UT fan base that they should invest in you for the future?
Well, it's a great question, and it's a fair question. And quite frankly, there's not one thing I can tell you right now that's going to convince every fan. I can tell you this. If you look at every move that I've made, there hadn't been one move that our family's made, not one move that I've made, where I wasn't going to say, well, I can be here for 20 to 25 years, as long as I can be. And I made that move with Ruston. You know, when I left Athens, I was 18 years old. And everybody in my family went to Georgia. My father, of course, was there that long. All right, but I always have kind of had a mind of my own. And I went to school and did something different. Everybody thought I should do something. I went to law school, and then everybody thought I shouldn't be coaching, and I go into coaching. And so I've just had a mind of my own. I can tell you this, moving isn't easy. And when you have a family with 3 kids, every move gets harder and harder. And my family's important to me. This is exactly the kind of town we want to live in. This is the program. How can you ask for anything more than University of Tennessee? And I wish I could sit here and give you a one line that's going to convince 100% of the fans, and that's never going to happen. So all I can do is go to work and assure you that I love being where I am. And, you know, I'm not looking to leave, and knowing that there's been a ton of coaches who said the same thing, and they've done it. So I don't know how best to answer that question, other than tell you, I've never been more excited about the future for my family and for a program and for living than I am right now. Yes, sir.
Jimmy Himes with the Sports Animal. Have you assembled a staff?
Well, you know, it's very premature to start talking names and specifics. And the first thing that I'm going to do is hopefully sit down with all the coaches that are here. Hey, I hope that they want to stay. I hope they believe in me. I hope they've made a lot of phone calls about who I am and what I represent. But, you know, let me say this, too, about a staff, because, you know, this whole put together the best staff in the country, all this. Well, you know, every staff member can't be a headliner to make a good staff, because a staff is a team. And each member of a staff brings strengths. Each member of the staff has things that maybe they don't do as well. And it's no different than assembling a football team. And so what I'm more concerned about is who wants to be here, who's going to believe in how we're going to run our organization and how we're going to play offense, defense, and special teams, what kind of team member they're going to be, how much they believe in this institution, and we're going to try to put the pieces together, because picking the right people is very important. And so hopefully at the end of the day, we'll have one heck of a team.
Coach,
yes, sir.
Channel 10. This group of players obviously had bought into the last coach's program and followed him with their trust now shattered. And
right.
How will you go about regaining that confidence, especially from the older players?
Well, the first thing I told the team is I'm never going to ask them to trust me, because I do think that that's something that has to be earned, and it's only going to get earned in time. But I think it's also important to remember, and I told the team this, that this institution has been here a long time, and it's going to be here a long time after me. And this football program has a ridiculous tradition of winning for a long time. We're going to win here, and it's going to win a long time after. And so it's their program. It's not my program. It's not the prior coach's program. It's their program. And so they can do with it however they want. And I think it's a great lesson in life that what happened. Was it an unfortunate situation for them? Of course it is. They've gone through 2 tough years, and I sympathize for them. But if you think this is as hard as it gets in life, look out, because life is tough. You're going to get knocked down a bunch, and the quicker you learn to deal with how you react to it and dust your britches off and move forward, then the quicker you're going to lead to happiness. And I have a lot of confidence that the team is going to move forward, because we're going to move forward and not dwell on what happened.
Hey, Derek.
Yes, sir.
Dave Hooker with the Knoxville News Sentinel. Can you talk about how your different stopovers have helped you become the recruiter you are, and in particular working with Nick Saban, who's known for his recruiting?
Yeah, well, I think, recruiting, it takes years to really develop a style. It takes a tremendous work ethic, but I think more than anything, it really takes a true, genuine connection with the players. And I've always been one to build a recruiting relationship over time. And I think what's important is that you sell the program and sell the university, not sell one guy. Because I think those are the kind of student athletes that come in and bleed orange, and they come in and play their hearts out for the program because they're coming to a school for the right reasons. I can tell you that most of my organizational structure in recruiting was heavily influenced by Nick, and my personal style of recruiting has it's me. It's my personality. So I have a lot of confidence in our ability to recruit at Tennessee. And recruiting is not just going and getting a guy. It starts with an evaluation process, making sure you're recruiting the right guys.
Can you also talk about Mike made a big deal about getting this done before the recruiting weekend, not just the visitors, but being able to go out on the road Sunday. And I wonder, from your perspective, how much just a couple of days helps. Had this hire been 3 days from now, how behind you would have been as opposed to now?
Every day is important when there's a contact day. Because you can lose ground, gain ground, and so I'm glad that we were able to get it done when we got it done. We don't have a lot of time. We only have 2 weeks, and we're going to do the best we can to try to put together a great quality class.
Derek, Jim Logan with the ABC affiliate here in Knoxville, WATE. I'm not a Dolphins fan. I hope you won't hold that against me. Hopefully.
I was only there 2 years, We're talking more about the Dolphins than we are Tennessee.
Just, you mentioned your dad, and I'm just curious, two parts. His reaction when he found out you were going to coach at Tennessee. And as a follow-up, you mentioned Nick and your dad. Just the qualities, you sort of mentioned Nick a second ago, the qualities you take from your dad, I guess, stepping into this job.
Well, he was extremely excited for me. And, I've kind of seen a part of my dad that I really never saw growing up as he's watching me grow as a coach in my career. And, I'm told that he gets more nervous than anybody during games and won't even listen to the games or watch them, which shocks me as a guy who stood on the sidelines that long. But very excited. And I think everybody you come in contact with helps develop your value set, what you believe, what you think's important to win, and what your style is. And certainly my father and Nick Saban had a tremendous influence in different things. Of course, like any dad, you learn so many intangible values, and I did from him. And I'm really blessed to be raised by someone who conducted himself with the class and integrity he did for so long. I think that working with Nick, it was a very demanding environment, but allowed you to really blossom as a coach if you were willing to do it. And so a lot of the organizational structure and infrastructure and what's important in winning and losing had an influence. But beyond that, there's so many other people. I mean, my mother had a tremendous influence. I probably talk a lot more than my dad, so get ready for that, and that is because of her. And I've tried to temper it through the years, but sometimes I can get going and not stop. So I've just been blessed to be around so many people who forged my belief system. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Beth Rucker with the Associated Press. Did you ever anticipate facing Coach Saban on the field, and have you spoken with your father? And if so, what does he think about you going to Tennessee? And if not, what do you think he thinks about you going to Tennessee?
Well, I can't speak for him, so y'all, he's still open for interviews if y'all want to give him a call. In fact, he has no media policies at this time, which is even better for you. I spoke with Nick before I came up here, and did I ever think I was going to go head to head with him? I hoped so, because that meant that I was doing well and he was doing well, and inevitably in this profession you end up playing everybody at some point. I do think that you can have a great relationship with a coach. You can have a lot of respect for each other as coaches. You can be friends, and then on game day be ridiculously competitive, because I know he's going to want to whip my tail and I'm going to want to whip his tail. And that's how it is. It's really no different than when you're growing up out in the yard with your best friend. Nobody wants to win a game more than that. And so I'm looking forward to being in this league, and I want y'all to know I have a lot of respect for this league. I have a lot of respect for the coaches in this league, and I'm always going to conduct myself in that manner. And I think you can have positive relationships with other coaches. You can show respect for other coaches and still keep the competitive edge.